They didn't come for our resources, they didn't come for our land, they came as gardeners for the universe to prune away the messy, noisy accident called life, and return everything to a perfect silent nothing. They were masters of oblivion. And they were terrified of us, because we were the one thing in all creation that made no sense. This is the story of how purity met passion and lost. If you're ready for a human versus alien clash, unlike any other, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe and tap the bell, because what comes next you won't want to miss. They called it Armageddon, but it wasn't war, it was a release. Silk ovals, mountains large blotted out the sun, not ships, more like eggs, hatching a new silent reality. Lightning arced down, but it didn't shatter or burn, it just killed the soil itself, went still, the air lost its taste. It was the universe working a stain out of its fabricant. From these shells they emerged 20-foot-tall nightmares of bone and shadow, moving with the terrible patient grace of absolute certainty. They were entropy given form in days. Earth was glazed. A hollow corpse, a dead rock that would only sing a haunting song if the wind blew through its bones. They were proud their work was divine. In the beginning our defiance was pathetic, our greatest weapons, our nukes. They were just fireworks, a final ironic torch so we could see our own funeral. The abominations walked through the wastelands. They had made basking in the glorious silence. The job was almost done. Then a sound, not a gunshot, not an engine, a scream, a raw, ragged human scream from the rubble of a shattered bank, a forgotten office, a broken home. A figure erupted, covered in ash and blood, one arm hanging useless. This wasn't a soldier, this was just a person, and in their hand, not a laser rifle, a piece of rusted iron lashed to a pipe, with tape, a makeshift machete. The abominations stopped. They didn't understand their logic. Their entire reason for being could not process this data. The human charged, not at the group but one of them. A 20-foot-tall demigod of destruction, and it sprinted. It scrambled up the beast's leg like a squirrel up a tree, and it began to hack, not at a weak point, just hack. Swing after swing after swing, screaming with a red-hot passion that seemed to heat the very air. The beast, confused, stumbled, it crashed to the ground, and the human didn't stop it, didn't just kill the thing, it desecrated it. It made a mess the other abominations could only watch. In their quest for perfect silence, they had never conceived of such a noisy, chaotic, pointless act. It was heresy. It was art, and that was just the first one across the globe. In the silence they had created, a symphony of madness began to play. The invaders were masters of death, but they had never met anything that enjoyed the fight so much. The abominations tried to resume their work, but now every shadow held a new terror. Every echo of a scream didn't signal fear. It signaled another one of them coming to play. Humans began to do things that broke the invaders' mindstead. Erect crude monuments from the wreckage of their cities, not to mourn but to taunt. They'd paint giant arrows on the ground, pointing to their own hiding places. They'd shout challenges into the silent sky, begging for a fight. The aliens communicated in perfect, logical harmonies. They started hearing human laughter, and it was the most horrifying sound in the universe. It was the sound of finding joy in the impossible. It was the sound of a creature that didn't fight for a reason. It fought because the fight was there. Their certainty began to crumble. Their purpose, so pure and simple, was infected by a virus called absurdity. And they had no immune system for it. How do you defeat an enemy that doesn't care about your rules, about your divine purpose, about winning in any logical sense? Think about that for a second. What if that's our real superpower? Not our intelligence or our strength, but our glorious, terrifying capacity to find meaning in the struggle itself. Even when all hope is gone, the final break wasn't a battle, it was a realization. A slow, dawning horror that spread through their hive mind. Like a cold chill, they saw a group of humans surrounded, outnumbered 100 to 1, and the humans were smiling. They were telling jokes. One was sharing a scrap of food. They weren't planning a last stand. They were having a party at the end of the world. That was the glaive of the guillotine, the falling axe. To look into the heart of absolute darkness, the void you worship, and to smile at it. To see the impossible odds and feel not fear but excitement. It was a cognitive weapon. They could not withstand. Their will to impose order shattered against the unbreakable rock of human chaos. They didn't lose a war. They had a system failure. Their ships, those perfect silent ovals, didn't explode. They just stopped. They drifted lifelessly in the sky. Their crews, catatonic, their minds broken by a paradox they could not solve. We didn't beat them with better tech. We didn't out-strategize them. We infected them with an idea so alien, so terrifying to their ordered minds, that their own consciousness rejected it. We gave them the one thing they couldn't handle, a meaningless fight. Mankind didn't rise from the ashes. That's too clean, too beautiful a concept for what happened. There was no glorious sunrise. We clawed our way out from under the rubble, bloody, confused, angry, half-crazed. We looked around at the dead world. had made, and we didn't see an end. We saw a blank canvas and we got to work, not with some grand smart plan for a new utopia. We just started building and fighting and laughing, because that's what we do. The fight wasn't over because the aliens left the fight, is the point. It's what makes us feel alive. We won the day because they were beasts of purpose. They drained life of meaning to return the universe to its silent, absurd state. Their ultimate failure was assuming we obeyed the same rules as everything else we never have. So what makes humanity special? Is it our intelligence? Our compassion? Maybe, but deeper than that. Down in our bones is something older, a chaotic, beautiful madness, an unwillingness to simply lie down and accept a quiet end. We are the universe's chaotic variable, the uncalculated number in the equation of existence. We don't need a reason to fight, to build, to love. The act itself is the reason, and that is something no perfect logical being from the void will ever understand. This was humanity's victory through chaos. But the void is vast, and who knows what else is out there waiting for a taste of our beautiful madness. Subscribe for more tales where humanity defies the odds, and let me know in the comments, what do you think is humanity's true ultimate weapon? Our creativity? Our resilience? Or is it just our pure, unadulterated insanity?